Good morning. Buenos días. I'm Alicia Alvaro, Associate Provost for Academic and Faculty Affairs. On behalf of Queens College faculty, administration, and as a proud mother of a Queens College graduate, it is my pleasure to extend to you the warmest welcome and congratulations. Many of you have come from far away to celebrate your graduates' achievements. Before we continue, I would like to ask everyone to please silence your phones and mobile devices. We will now bring to an official end an enormously successful academic year at Queens College. The class of 2022 is walking through the welcome gates on Casena Boulevard one last time as students, reminding themselves of the Queens College motto, Decimos ut serviamos. We learn so that we may serve. Please note that our order of procession is as follows. Coming down the side aisle will be our alumni from classes from 1952, 1962, and 1972. It's wonderful to have so many of our alumni join us today to wish the class of 2022 their best and to celebrate their own achievements. Down the center aisle will be members of the platform party, led by Chief Marshal Janice Smith, with the help from Provost Elizabeth Henry. Assistant Marshal Russell Miller will lead our distinguished faculty, and then Assistant Chief Marshal Simone Yearwood is going to coordinate our graduates from all 4 schools who will proceed down all of the aisles. As our alumni, faculty, and graduates march down the aisles, please welcome them with your warmest applause. Let the processional begin. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Chief Marshal, Janice Smith, who will officially open and close the commencement exercises. Professor Emeritus Smith holds undergraduate and master's degrees from the University of Maine, and her doctorate is from Northwestern University. At the Aaron Copland School of Music, she taught graduate and undergraduate courses in general music, music and special education, foundations of music education, and research in music education. She was the undergraduate coordinator for music education and later the graduate coordinator for music education. Her service to Queens College includes time on the undergraduate curriculum committee and the graduate curriculum committee, and as the acting dean of arts and humanities. Dr. Smith is a co-author on multiple books on composition. Her writings have appeared in national and international journals. And she was a longtime research chair for the New York State School of Music Education. Today, Chief Marshal Smith wears the Queens College chain that lists the names of chief marshals from previous commencements. Please give a warm welcome to Professor Emeritus Janice Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 98th commencement exercises of Queens College of the City University of New York are now officially open. Let us thank the students and faculty members, especially Dr. Ianthea Calhoun, for the music this morning and sharing their talents with us. President Wu, I am honored to report that members of the graduating class, the faculty and the staff of Queens College, and representatives from the Board of Trustees and the mayor, as well as other administration from the City of New York, University of New York, are now all present. All are gathered here for the 98th commencement of Queens College. I now ask that everyone please stand and face the flagpole behind you. We invite you to join in the singing of our national anthem, which will be led by Sharice Roberts, class of 2022, who is graduating today with a bachelor's degree of music in vocal performance.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we held as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly gleaming, and the rockets ran clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof to the
Thank you, Sharice, and please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the 11th president of Queens College, Frank H. Wu.
Thank you so very much, Chief Marshal Smith. We are most honored that you are serving as our Chief Marshal this beautiful morning on our beautiful campus. Isn't it great to be back in person again? Before we begin today's festivities, allow us to take a moment of silence to remember the victims and their families in Tulsa yesterday, Texas last week, Buffalo last month, and the so many victims of gun violence in our city and in our country. It's the least that we can do. There is so much more yet to be done. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of all victims of gun violence. Allow us to take a moment of silence. Thank you. We are most fortunate today to have our mayor, the Honorable Eric Adams, with us. What a tremendous honor for us here at Queens College when the highest citywide official takes time out of his incredibly busy schedule to return home here to the Worldsboro to speak at our most important gathering. The last time a mayor of this great city of ours spoke at our commencement was almost 2 decades ago. The Honorable Eric Adams is a lifelong New Yorker who grew up right here in Queens, and he's a CUNY twofer, having graduated from our sister institutions, the New York City College of Technology, as well as John Jay College. Mayor Adams has served the people of New York City as an NYPD officer, including as Chief of Department, the highest uniformed officer post. He was elected as a New York State Senator, Brooklyn Borough President, and now is the 110th Mayor of the great city of New York. It is truly an honor to welcome to the podium the Honorable Eric Adams, Mayor of the City of New York. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, President Wu, for being a trendsetter and a leader. And thank all of you. And to Sharice, your rendition really touched me. There's an energy that I believe that's sweeping our entire country. And the last take-home assignment you have, I'm asking you to do, is to go home and read the Pledge of Allegiance. Read that document and what it means to all of us. Yes, America is not perfect. Yes, there are things we can do better. But this is a country where nowhere else on the globe is dream attached to its name. There's not a German dream, there's not a French dream, there's not a Polish dream, but darn it, there's an American dream. And that dream is so significant. And I believe in all my heart that I do pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to that flag. And no matter where you come from, this country is the only country where states do not abandon your homeland as you embrace your adopted land. Our secret weapon that makes us powerful and profound and significant is the dash that fits between our cultures. African-American, Jewish-American, AAPI-American, Polish, German, Caribbean dash American. You remove that dash, you remove our secret weapon. We need to hold on to that dash and protect it. That is allowing us to be the great country that we are and that we have always been. We need to open our borders to immigrant populations and allow them to come in and appreciate what America has to offer. Nothing is more profound and powerful than moving up through the ranks. And yes, it's going to be difficult. Understand that. But as you leave these important places of higher learning, do it with the understanding of staying focused. Here's a word that I embrace. Euthymia. It's a Greek word that means knowing your path and how to stay on it without allowing distractions to get in your way. I grew up in Queens, had a difficult start, arrested at 15, had dyslexia in school, told I would never amount to anything because of the lack of understanding of what I needed. I was arrested, dyslexic, and now I'm elected as the mayor of the city of New York. Don't surrender. Don't give up. Forge ahead and don't be distracted. I say congratulations to you and your family. And continue to embrace those in the rows behind us. We are our families. And our families play a major part on us obtaining the levels of success that we appreciate. And with them, we will continue to rise. And lastly, celebrate the diversity. If you leave this school not knowing someone that's different, learn how to understand and appreciate when someone wears a kufi, a yarmulke, a hijab. When someone's attending a mosque, a synagogue, a Baptist church, a Buddhist temple. Diversity is our secret weapon. It's a Shakespearean tragedy to go through schools and go through our higher learning and not appreciate the full development of our personhood by appreciating and leaning into the diversity of this city, particularly Queens. Education is not only in the sterilized environment of the rooms we sit in, but it's in the city that we live in. Appreciate how diverse we are and how much we can learn from each other. The hidden secret to a global issue or global problem is based on global relationships and interactions. That's what we must do. We're blessed to be in New York City. We're blessed to be here and see the opportunities that this city has to offer, that we can learn from each other and prosper from each other. And not everyone is going to like you. My son called them haters. Well, you let your haters be your waiters when you sit down at the table of success and continue to move forward. Congratulations to you graduates. Good luck in the future.
Another big round of applause for our mayor, the Honorable Eric Adams. And please, let's give it up for Sharice Roberts, class of 22, once again. For the opening of our new art school, the only comprehensive art school in the CUNY system. She was the star of the Merry Widow opera, and you can all see why with that voice of hers. We are fortunate today to have a guest who is a frequent participant at Queens College graduations, and we gladly welcome him on our campus at any time. Thanks to his leadership, Queens College received almost $100 million as part of the federal pandemic relief effort. I'm speaking about United States Senator, Majority Leader Charles Schumer. The citizens of New York have been most fortunate to have Chuck Schumer as their senator. He has done so much for our economy and has delivered for higher education again and again. We're proud to call Senator Charles Schumer a friend of the CUNY system, a friend of Queens College.
Thank you. Thank you, President Wu. And first of all, to the great class of 2022, Queens College, congratulations, you've made it. Let's have a round of applause for this great class. And I want to thank President Frank Wu, all the members of the faculty, the staff, all the way down to the people who keep this place clean late at night. You have made Queens College not only one of the finest institutions of higher learning in New York, but in all of America. Let's have a round of applause for the great faculty and staff of Queens College. And now I'd like to say a word to the parents. I know how you feel. Not long ago, my wife and I sat where you are and watched our daughter Jessica get her diploma. By the way, she's about to give birth today to my second grandchild, God willing. In any case, we sat there as you did, watched her get her diploma, and it was one of the proudest days of our lives. You've been through a lot as parents. It's not easy raising kids these days, but now you get to watch all of your blood, sweat, and tears pay off as your son or daughter walks on the stage, gets that diploma, and becomes an adult before your very eyes. Let's hear it for the moms and dads. And now another word of thanks. This week we celebrated Memorial Day. We commemorated Memorial Day. And as we're here today, this morning, having a great time, there are young men and women, many of them from Queens, serving in our armed forces in dangerous places overseas, risking their lives for us. Let's have a round of applause for them. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, as the President mentioned, in memory of those who tragically lost their lives in Buffalo, in Uvalde, in Tulsa, and so many other senseless acts of gun violence on our streets, we must do everything possible to get these damn guns and weapons of war off our streets and out of our communities, and we will keep fighting together till we win. Now, to this great class of 2022. The challenges of the last few years have really been unique. I'm sure you expected your time in college to bring new experiences, but that probably, when you started out, that probably didn't include a global pandemic. And yet here you are, having earned a degree from a fine institution of higher learning. You overcame immense obstacles to get here. Nothing and nobody can take it away from you. Of course, we have a lot more work to do, but little by little, we're seeing signs that life is returning to normal. And it took a lot of work to get to this point. As Majority Leader, I worked hard to pass the American Rescue Plan, which put checks in the pockets of millions of New York families and saved hundreds of thousands of small businesses, many here in Queens. And now, one of the things I'm pushing hardest for is to get President Biden to forgive $50,000 in undergraduate and graduate student loans, a crushing burden for too many in our country. So, graduates, this is a profound era of economic and social change. In the old days, when you graduated from college, the odds were pretty high you'd have the same job in the same field for 40 years. That's not so true anymore. Most of you will have several jobs, many of you several careers. And along with these economic changes, the internet has put so much information at our fingertips that it's sometimes hard to figure out what's important and to distinguish between what's true and what isn't. All too often, the loudest voices get the most attention. But class of 2022, the good news is this about our changing world. Your generation is better equipped than any other that came before it to adapt to these changes, to overcome the obstacles they present, and to seize the opportunities they afford. Right now, though, sitting in your seats, many of you may not be sure of what comes next. With so much of the world changing so fast, sometimes it may feel like you're jumping into an abyss. But graduates, the key is not to fear the unknown. It's to embrace it, to relish it, to soak up every possibility it has to offer and cast aside your fears. My advice to the class of 2022 is simple. Go for it. Now, how do I know? Well, I remember feeling doubts myself when I was your age. When I was seated at college graduation several years back, many years back, I had just learned that I had won a scholarship to travel all around the world, all expenses paid, for a whole year. For me, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. I came from a family that didn't have much money. My father was an exterminator. I'd never been out of the country before. But at the same time I won this scholarship, I met a girl and I fell in love. Aww. I had to decide. Do I go around the world on the all-expense-paid scholarship for a whole year? Or do I stay home with the girl, my first true love? Class of 2022, what would you have done? President Wu, the class is divided. I stayed home with the girl. Don't clap yet, you romantics there in the front row. The story continues. That summer, she went on a brief vacation, and I went to the airport to meet her on her return. As soon as she got off the plane, I saw by the look on her face something was wrong. She dumped me by Labor Day. There I was, no scholarship, no trip around the world, no girl. I said to myself, what a loser you are. You're never going to make anything of yourself. And in fact, I stayed in my house for several months, moped around, felt bad for myself. But somehow I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and moved forward. And a few years later, I found myself seated at graduation once again, this time from law school. But on the way home from graduation, I told Mom and Dad that I wasn't going to join the fancy law firm like we had planned. I told them politics was my passion. I told them I wanted to help people and run for public office. Well, my parents were shocked. My mother particularly was disappointed. You see, as I mentioned, I grew up in a working-class family. They struggled to send me to college and law school. They wanted the best for me, and the law firm was paying $400 a week, which in those days was more money than my family had ever seen. But my heart wasn't in it. My dream was to run for office, and so that fall, at the age of 23, I took a big gamble, and against very long odds, I ran for the state assembly, and I had 3 opponents. There was the party machine candidate, there was a neighborhood activist, and then there was my mother, who was telling all her friends not to vote for me. So as she said, I get this dumb idea of being an elected official out of my big, thick head. Well, graduates, a few years earlier, I sure didn't get that girl. But that November, I won the election. So, to this great class of 2022, on this great day of your achievement, my advice, take the risk. Don't let fear of failing deter you. For those of us who've gotten older and look back on life, one of the most difficult moments is what I call the what-ifs. You say to yourself, what if I had only done this? What if I had only gone there? So, you're about to cast off into the unknown. And I know it can seem scary. But you've got great assets, a great education at one of the best colleges in the country, and families that will always have your back through thick and thin. So garner up your courage, garner up your strength, put aside your doubts, take a chance, and if you do, it is my hope, it is my prayer, and indeed it is my confidence each of you will find true success and true joy in life. To this great class, Queens 2022, congratulations, good luck, Godspeed, and don't forget, go for it. The girl is back.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Missed the girl. Yeah, right.
Sorry about that.
For 3 years.
Thank you so much, Senator. The word commencement, although it occurs at the end of each academic year, means the beginning. We call it commencement because this moment signals your new beginning. In your lives beyond Queens College, you've been prepared well. Just as you are beginning a new chapter, I feel as if I am with you, almost a member of your class. You see, though I'm about to start my 3rd year of service here, this is my first in-person commencement, And it's wonderful to be back in person here on the highest spot in the borough of Queens. All of us here today, 6,500 strong, including graduates, faculty, staff, family members, loved ones, and alumni from the classes of 52, 62, and 72, have gathered to celebrate you, our great class of 2022. And to do that, I'd like to start by acknowledging some very special people in the audience. I'll ask you to stand so that we may applaud and honor you. Will all of the students who are the first in their family to attend college please stand? Please stay standing. Will the students who are following the footsteps of another family member who graduated from Queens College or a sister CUNY institution, will you please stand? And will our graduates who have so valiantly served our nation in the armed forces please stand to be acknowledged? Note that veterans are listed on page 42 of the commencement bulletin. Let's show them our thanks and admiration. We're consistently one of the best institutions for military veterans. Thank you. Please be seated, members of the class of 2022. You'll be standing again because this is your day. I want to mention some of the special achievements of the class of 2022, and whether they are on the platform party here with us or in the audience, please stand as I mention these graduates of the class of 2022, recipients of the Paul Clapper Scholarship, Karina Aburum Saab and Michael Umrami, who are the commencement and baccalaureate speakers respectively. Our Queens College Retirees Association, Dina Feldman Scholarship winner, Kushana Givens. Winner of the Salman Hamdani Memorial Award, Michael Yubov. And the Joe and Carol Brostek Scholarship winner, Nikolai Baki. Finally, among the students, I want to acknowledge and congratulate Saskia Van Horn, graduating today with the Senior Legacy Scholarship. The 2022 Senior Class Gift Campaign has provided Saskia the opportunity to pay off her college expenses so she can focus on her dreams and her future. Saskia, congratulations to you. Now, would all the parents, guardians, grandparents, siblings, uncles, aunts, husbands, wives, partners, significant others, and friends who are gathered please stand so that we may congratulate you for your contribution to your graduate success. Thank you for your superb job. I'd like to thank as well the Queens College faculty and staff. A special thanks to the Office of Campus Events and Commencement, my Chief of Staff, Megan Morwilk, the individual who plans commencement, Sylvia Hernandez, our Communications and Marketing Office, Information Technology, the Public Safety Officers, and the Buildings and Grounds professionals. We couldn't do it without you. A big round of applause for them. I'll be introducing members of the platform party seated here. We'll start with a fellow president in the City University of New York system, the largest and the best urban higher education system in the United States, the president of the Borough of Manhattan Community College, Anthony Monroe. Retiring in just a few weeks, our provost and senior vice president, someone who has served Queens College for 33 years. I'd like to thank personally Betsy Hendry. and all of the vice presidents, assistant vice presidents, and cabinet members, if you would stand, as well as the deans and associate provosts, and our dedicated academic chairs, our distinguished professors. A big round of applause for all of them. Thank you so much. We have so many great student leaders. Our outgoing Student Association president, who served 2 terms, Zaire Kalut, Vice President Kayla Kemp, Treasurer Rita Zadi, and Secretary Saskia Van Horn. A big round of applause to the student leadership. Please be seated. Our next speaker, not listed in your program, but we are so honored that he is here. He played such an important role in everything that we've done as we build back, including the 2 new soccer pitches and the track, and I can attest to his speed running on that track. It's our borough president, Donovan Richards. The Honorable Donovan Richards has long supported this institution, not only as the borough president, but during his time on the city council. I know that his sister is a graduate of Queens College as well. He never misses an opportunity to visit with us, and we're fortunate to have him here today. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Donovan Richards, President, Borough of Queens.
Sounds like President Wu wants a rematch, but truly an honor to be here. I'm your Queensborough President, newly elected Queensborough President, Donovan Richards. It's an honor to be here, of course, and I want to thank President Wu and his staff, Jeff and all, who've done a phenomenal job at ensuring through one of the toughest times in our borough that this campus could function and run, and their success is your success, so give them a big round of applause today. I wanted to start with some words from a great philosopher, Drake. You started from the bottom, now you're here. And you know, being here today reminds me of where I was almost a decade ago, graduating college, sitting in an audience just like you. Like many of you, I'm a person of color. I'm the son of an immigrant. And never mind graduating college, I was the first person in my family to even go to college. Like many of you, I went to class all day and then worked all night just to put myself through school. And like many of you, I wanted to give up more times than I could count. You know, I'm always touched by the mayor's story because his story is very similar to my story. I didn't make it, I didn't go to Rikers, wasn't arrested, but I was a teenage runaway. I nearly dropped out of high school. And today I am proud to stand here as the first black man to be elected borough president in the borough of Queens. But I couldn't get here without folks who believed in me. And like many of you, I know you've had people who've had your back through the tough times. And I want you to stand up, graduates, to give those folks a round of applause. Your family members, your parents, those who believed in you, your friends. Stand up, graduates, give them their due. Clap for them. We don't make it here on our own. There are folks who've sacrificed a great deal for you to be here today. Thank you. You may be seated now. Those folks have sacrificed so much to make going a college a possibility for you, just as my parents made it possible for me. Especially my father, who immigrated here from Jamaica with next to nothing in his pocket. You know, I'm proud to say he became a United States citizen 2 years ago. And the first election he was able to vote in was mine. I don't know if he voted for me, but somebody checked with the Board of Elections. I gave him hell. But I know for a fact that so many of your parents made similar sacrifices. So to all of your parents and once again guardians, we say thank you. Your friends, supporters, thank you. Graduates, my advice to all of you today is this: to keep an open mind. Understand that even the path your life takes is not the path You understand that even in the path your life takes is not the path you've envisioned. And trust me, there will be a fork in everyone's road. My road was nearly having to drop out of college because I couldn't afford it. The fork in my road was seeing my childhood friend, Darnell Patterson, murdered at 19 years old. Yes, we need to do something about the gun violence ending too many young lives across our city. And there is possibility and promise even after those bends and through that bend. Whenever you feel discouraged by your direction or unsure of the worth of the degree in your hands, make sure to never hang your head. Because if you do, you'll be blind to the potential of the path you're on. It's okay to not know where your road will lead, but I can guarantee you there will be plenty of opportunities to put your hard-earned college degree to good use. And yes, we need to make college free eventually for folks across this country. So when you walk across that stage today with your eyes up and smiles on, I want you to internalize that feeling. I want you to commit yourself to living your life with the clear eyes and open mind it deserves. That's how we lead the most successful lives we can possibly imagine. And that's how we give back to those in our lives who sacrifice so much just to give us a chance at this moment. So I want to congratulate you, class of 2022. Queens is truly the future because of each and every one of you. And we have a saying as I close, Queens get the money. God bless you all. Congratulations.
And now I'd like to welcome back someone who knows his way around campus, the Honorable James Gennaro. Council member James Gennaro represents the 24th District, and as importantly, he was a member of our faculty right here at Queens College, a professor of political science, a professor of environmental public policy, trained as a geologist who supported public education and CUNY throughout an illustrious career. He's always been generous in helping Queens College. Please help me to welcome back former professor, current City Council member, James Gennaro.
Thank you, President Wu. How about a great round of applause for this great president and all that he's done for you. And Mayor Adams, Senator Schumer, Borough President Richards, all great champions. It's very hard to speak after they've been up here, but another big round of applause for all they do. I'm very happy to be able to work very closely with Borough President Richards and Mayor Adams to deliver for this campus. As the president says, my name is Jim Gennaro, and I have the privilege of representing Queens College in the City Council, and it's great to be able to allocate millions of your tax dollars along with the Borough President every year to this wonderful institution. I can't think of a better place to invest public dollars than right here. And like the president said, I'm also part of the Queens College family. I taught here from 1996 to 2003, so it always feels like home when I'm here, which is very often thanks to President Wu, who very graciously opens the doors of this campus for all kinds of community events. President Wu wants everyone to feel home at Queens College, and he has certainly made that happen. We thank him for that. Now, the president talked about the word commencement. I'm going to talk about that too. I want to congratulate you on your commencement, which is to say your beginning, your dawn, the start of the next phase of your life's journey. Walt Whitman, the great New York poet who was born 203 years ago this week in Huntington, Long Island, wrote an unforgettable poem about his start, the start of his life's journey. The poem is called Starting from Pominock, from his Leaves of Grass collection. Pominock is a Native American name for Long Island, where Walt Whitman was born and where we now stand, geographically speaking. The housing complex across the street bears the name Pominock and reminds us that Queens is indeed part of Pominock, which means land of tribute. How fitting for this day. I like how I always start my own applause lines, you know what I mean? In this poem, Whitman tells the story of his own life and magically turns the focus from himself and his time and his journey to that of the reader, and by extension to the common humanity of all fellow travelers on life's road. He says in the poem, I will not make poems with reference to separate parts, but I will make poems and songs with reference to ensemble. In this poem, Walt Whitman embraced what connects us and warns of what divides us. And as I look upon you graduates, as impressive and inspiring and ensemble as I have ever seen, my wish for you all today, as you literally start out from Paumanok, the land of tribute, is to remember this day, this ensemble, the common humanity you share with one another, and I urge you to go out from this campus today and never embrace division, but rather make your poems, your songs, and your life always and forever in the spirit of ensemble. Many congratulations, and may God bless you all. Thank you.
Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone who brings greetings on behalf of the governing board of the City University of New York. A generation after Queens College was founded in 1937, we were privileged to be to join this great system, the CUNY system, governed by a board appointed by both the governor and the mayor. The CUNY system is the strongest urban higher education system in the United States. Mr. Sunshine founded the Ken Sunshine Consultancy, now known as Sunshine Sachs, back in 1991. And over the past 3 decades, he has grown that firm to one of the largest and most prestigious, representing clients that include leading corporations, nonprofits, and labor unions, as well as some of the most prominent names in Hollywood. His own mother, Lorraine, is a proud alumna of Queens College. Like many of you, she raised a family first, and then she came back. She attended Queens College, earning her degree in the Interdisciplinary Studies program in 1975. And Ken Sunshine remembers well accompanying his mother onto this campus. Let's give a warm Queens College welcome back to Trustee Sunshine.
I was basically my mother's chauffeur often here, and parking was bad back then too. So, thank you, President Wu, distinguished guests, and the elected officials who spoke so well. It's my pleasure to welcome the honorary degree recipients, Danny Burstein and Arturo Casadoval. The excellence of Danny Burstein's work has been recognized repeatedly with industry awards over an illustrious career. He has won 2 Drama Desk Awards, 3 Outer Critics Awards, amongst so many others. And it seemed like all of New York cheered when 7-time Tony nomination Danny Burstein won the 2020 Tony Award for Best Feature Actor. Finally, he won. A Queens College graduate, Mr. Burstein's work exemplifies the humanity, cultural depth, and sense of community that we as New Yorkers value and cherish. Scientist, physician, teacher, scholar, editor, and humanist, Arturo Casadoval is an internationally recognized expert in so many areas of medical and scientific inquiry. A Queens College graduate, Dr. Casadoval is a strong voice for promoting women and underrepresented minorities in science, and his mentoring of scientists from underrepresented groups was recognized with the William Hinton Award of the American Society of Microbiology. Graduates, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, I'm honored to celebrate this special day. Today represents an impressive milestone in your life, one that you will share with your families, friends, and faculty, as well as the administration of Queens College. Class of 22, you deserve high praise for your perseverance, resiliency, and your bravery during these unprecedented and crazy times. You succeeded in graduating during an ever-ongoing pandemic, endless political strife, and managed to attend classes by Zoom and distance learning, which weren't even invented 3 years ago. And you did it in the greatest city in the world. Despite our many challenges, the stakes are greater here in the borough of Queens. We celebrate the greatest possible diversity and welcome immigrants from throughout the world instead of trying to keep immigrants out. At CUNY, we embody the tradition that you can succeed no matter where you came from, no matter how modest your parents' economic standing. Yet as much as this is a celebration of joy, I'm going to bring some bottom line New York realism to all of you. The world you're inheriting is a very troubled place. Environmental disaster, racial and political strife, violence as a means of settling seemingly ancient feuds. There is no escaping these and many other seemingly irresolvable problems. Our great country, and it is the greatest in the world, is also the gun capital of the world. And these horrific massacres become routine. The wonder of the internet and digital communications has instead become a vehicle to spread hate, violence, and division. I could keep going. Graduates, please be agents of change. We can and must do better. Don't screw it up the way my generation did. Be bold, dream big, and for heaven's sake, don't be cynical or try to hide from helping to make this all better. We expect great things from all of you and have no doubt that you have the talent and passion to change and improve this crazy world. Congratulations, class of 22.
Thank you so much, Trustee Sunshine, from chauffeur to CUNY trustee. All right. Now, our student speaker, one of our student speakers, we will hear from Karina Abu Orm Saab, commencement speaker for 2022, winner of the Paul Clapper Scholarship. That is the most prestigious award that we give here at Queens College to a graduate. Karina is graduating summa cum laude with a degree in political science. She's been an active member of the college community, participating in the PSCI Club, Amnesty International for QC, and she plans to attend graduate school and earn her PhD in public health. She hopes to work for government agencies researching and contributing to the betterment of society. Please give a warm welcome to Karina Abu Orm Saab.
Thank you, President Wu. I'm going to start by quoting the famous Cuban-American singer Celia Cruz and tell you all that my English is not very good looking. Despite this, I hope that you, the class of 2022, will find some advice and courage in my words. 7 years ago, I was working on what would be my last job as a doctor in Venezuela. Venezuela is a country that you probably know for its oil and inflation, but it is a country that I left because I was being politically harassed. I saw my colleagues and professors sent to military prisons and many of my friends killed while protesting. My last shift at the hospital was quiet, but I had a very young patient with a gunshot wound that just came out of surgery. In a couple of hours, I knew something was not right. His heart was beating faster than normal, and his face was very pale. I knew that he was bleeding internally and called for the surgeon, who was very reluctant, but took him back to the operating room and ended up saving his life. Only a couple of days later, I had to leave behind my medical career, my family, and my country. I arrived in New York alone, without money, friends, or any type of plan to survive. Today, I can say that forced migration feels like a gunshot, but it is a wound that you cannot locate in your body. For years, I felt like I was bleeding out, but it was not possible for me to stop it like I did it with so many of my patients. I remember not wanting to be here. I did not want to live in America. I did not want to live in New York. If I am honest, at some point, I did not want to live at all. As I was battling to help my family survive back home, I started to work as a waitress in New York, imagine that. I believe that as a doctor, I learned greatly about science, but as a waitress, I have learned a lot more about life. Today, I am proud to say that I have been waitressing all these years, and this occupation not only saved my life and my family back home, it also allowed me to pay for tuition and stand here today at Queens College. Thank you. I'm a little bit nervous. When I decided to start a new career path, I visited different institutions. The people working in those places were always very confused. They were all sending me to different buildings because they really did not know what to do with me. How is it that a foreign doctor wants to study political science? Nevertheless, the day I walked into Queens College, I knew immediately that this was the place where I needed to be. How could one not fall in love with this campus? Here, the admission staff was still confused about me, but they made sure I left with all the answers. I remember them making many phone calls for me to have the accurate information of the processes and all the paperwork I needed so I could be admitted. As the start of the semester approached, I was so nervous. I think I'm a very nervous person. I realized that I had lost my confidence and my new fears were taking a toll on my personality. I still wanted to excel, but at the same time, I doubted myself and always questioned the idea of having good things happening to me. On my first day of class, I was terrified. I was so worried about failure and taking classes in another language. I wondered, what am I doing? What if I fail? Is this even worth it? I was so nervous that I remember on my first day of class, I went to Professor Bowman's office from the political science department. And I told him, Professor, I am not sure if I am smart in English, but I promise you for real that I am very smart in Spanish. Professor Bowman actually never believed this. He, on the contrary, assured me at every chance that I was going to be excellent. The same happened with Professor Alves, who became my mentor throughout my time here. Professor Alves would make me laugh at my fears and help me overcome them every single time. I took all of the classes that he was teaching, but he did more than teaching me political science. He helped me find the words for my thoughts. He would be so busy and still always found time to read and respond to my emails with his advice. You can imagine how anxious I can be, so there were a lot of emails, and he was always still there. Both of my professors supported me and made me believe that I was in fact a great student and I was going to succeed. I hope that Queens College and the faculty gave you as great experience as they gave me. I always thought that higher education has a special way of transforming you, but this time I don't think that it only transformed me. It also gave some sense to the life I am trying to build from scratch. I finally understood that forced migration is an eternal wound in my life. It took a lot away from me, so much that for a while I did not know how to enjoy the good things that were happening to me. It was like if I forgot how to feel happy or safe or even joyful. But I can also say that I found some healing every day that I was on this campus, in every class and every engagement I had within these walls. I finally started to feel that I was building a path belonging to Queens College and to this city. And today, the story of my life will always be associated with Queens College and the city of New York. I am sure it is the same for you, because from this moment on, every one of you will be carrying this college name, and I am sure you will carry it with pride as I do. After everything that we have endured, today I can say that I don't want to be anywhere else. This is my place now because this wonderful country has given me the opportunity to start again and thrive. I don't remember feeling this free, this happy, or this safe in a very, very long time. So right now you may not feel related to my words, but I can assure you that no matter where you come from or where your parents come from, that despite all the struggles and doubts, you belong here today with me. Together we have survived all the requirements, all the tests, all the assignments, all the homework. But it doesn't stop there. We also survived a pandemic. So you better believe when I say this, and if you know me, you know that it's not something that I usually say, but I want to be very hopeful today and tell you that there is nothing in this life that you cannot achieve. I say this even though I am not here to give you a motivational speech, but I am here to tell you that this country needs every single one of us to participate in our society. I believe it is our duty now to participate by serving our communities with ethical and democratic values. Our contributions are also our responsibilities because these are challenging times for us and future generations, especially now when the world looks so violent, so divided, and so harsh. Before you leave today on this great date for all of us, I want you to realize how far we have come. I want you to feel what I feel now. When I see something that scares me, I look back and see where I come from, what I have endured, and what I have survived. I want you to remember this in the future when you're worried or when you feel that you're incapable of something. Think about this moment and remember my words. You have achieved this. Now, some of us will go to grad school, some of you will work in different fields, some of you might not want to continue with your education. Whatever it is, the path that you choose from here, I wish that you will always be proud of who you are and how Queens College helped you become who you wanted to be. I cannot leave without thanking my parents, my brother, and my sister, who, even though we were forced to be physically distant all this time, they never let me lose the focus on my goals. And I also thank the Political Science Department for taking me in, and I thank Queens College, where I really found a home, and I hope that you did too. So I thank you, class of 2022. We did it.
Thank you, Karina, so very much for a moving speech. Her story is your story. Her story is our story. Now we will confer honorary degrees. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome back Arturo Casadevall, a member of the Queens College class of 1979, in order to confer upon him an honorary doctorate. He is joined today by his wife, Dr. Nicole Broderick, and his daughter, Beatrice. Dr. Casadevall, please come to the middle of the stage. Our provost, Betsy Hendry, will read excerpts from the citation for Dr. Casadevall. The complete text is in your program, and I encourage you to read it to learn more about a most impressive career.
Arturo Casadevall, the son of Cuban emigres, you arrived in Elmhurst, Queens at age 11. Making your way in a new country, you worked from an early age, including 4 years at McDonald's, followed by a stint as a bank teller. You obtained your bachelor's degree in chemistry at Queens College. Then, with the urging of your father, you went on to New York University. With the help of a Salk scholarship, you entered the MD-PhD program, graduating with your MS and PhD in biochemistry in 1984 and your MD in 1985. You served as director of the Story Division of Infectious Diseases at Montefiore Medical Center and held the Selma and Jacques Mitrani Professor in Medical Research, the chair of the Department of Microbiology and Immunology, and the Leo and Julie Forsheimer Professor of Microbiology and Immunology. Currently, you hold appointments as the Alfred and Jill Summer Professor and Chair of the W. Harry Firestone Department of Molecular Microbiology and Immunology, the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and Professor of Medicine in the Department of Infectious Diseases at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. In recognition for your accomplishments as an interdisciplinary researcher and your excellence in teaching, you were named a Bloomberg Distinguished Professor at Johns Hopkins University. You are a world-class researcher who has published more than 746 papers and 33 book chapters in immunology, microbiology, genetics, molecular biology, biochemistry, and medicine. You are the recipient of such prestigious awards as the American Society for Microbiology Founders Distinguished Service Award, the National Institutes of Health Merit Award, and the Rhoda Benheim Award from the Medical Mycology Society of America, of which you have also been president. You are a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science and the American Academy of Microbiology, and you were elected to the National Academy of Medicine and American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Your achievements in the lab are only part of your contributions to science. You are a member of the National Science Advisory Board for Biosecurity from 2005 to 2014, and then a commissioner for the National Forensic Commission of the United States Department of Justice. Equally, you are well known for taking a serious interest in the ethics of scientific practice and education, including expanding ideas of what makes good, valuable science. You are a strong voice for promoting women and underrepresented minorities in science. Your mentoring of scientists from underrepresented groups was recognized with the William Hinton Award of the American Society of Microbiology. In your distinguished career, you have conducted important path-breaking scientific research, offered excellent teaching and generous mentoring, and achieved international stature. Today, it is our great pleasure to welcome you and confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Dr. Arturo Casadevall, by the authority vested in the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, and by them entrusted to me, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, immunities, and honors pertaining thereto.
Thank you, President Wu. Thank you, trustees. Thank you for picking me. I have been fortunate to receive many awards in my life, but this is the emotionally most meaningful award that I have ever received, because everything that I have had has come from my time at Queens College. As I look upon you now, I can tell you that Queens College is timeless. It looks no different than when I graduated. There are two differences. We face the other way, and when you look towards the city, the skyline is different. I came to Queens College a few years after enrolling in this country. Like Karina, I had to work through college. I came here because it was the only place that was free. I had no other place that I could go to school. And like many immigrants, I was totally disoriented. I didn't know what to do. I got a letter that says you got to go register. And I went to that building in the back on the left there. It was known as Academic 2. I didn't know what registration was. So I stood online. They gave me these cards. I was supposed to pick up courses. And then you stood online for a long time. And then you went to, in those days, they had cards to communicate with computers. And then the course was filled. I had no idea what it said mean. And I spent all my day looking to fill up 18 credits. The good thing was that nobody was taking the science courses or the math courses. So at the end of the day, I managed to line up and that was good because I didn't come from a scientific background. I discovered science in Queens College, and this is the story, a huge discovery for me. I found out that people actually get paid to do science, something that I had no idea about. I didn't know it was a job. So I majored in chemistry here in Remsen Hall. I decided to pursue a PhD in chemical engineering. And then I worked really hard because I knew that the ticket out was to get good grades. Then my father said to me, you know, we went through a lot to get to this country. You're going to medical school. And I said to him, Dad, I don't want to go to medical school. I said, well, you're going to medical school. I said, sure. You know, I come from a family. You told me to go to medical school. I go to medical school. So unfortunately, I didn't have any of the pre-meds. And the pre-med office used to be there in one of those Spanish-style buildings. I walked in and I said, how do I do? Well, it was difficult. I had to do all my pre-med. I didn't have MCATs or anything. But remember, I love science. And then when I was looking through catalogs, I found there was something called an MD PhD program. I decided to apply to it, and they told me, don't bother. No one from here is going to get into those places. This is for, the well-known places. And they were almost right. But you know what? They put me in a waiting list, and right before medical school started, I got in, and that was another big break in my life. So Queens College got me there, and then when I got in, and I basically interacted with other students and all these people from all these quote-unquote eminent places, I found that I was better prepared, that my science and my education in Queens College had been more rigorous and more thorough, and got me to graduate school and got me to medical school, and I was in great shape. So I have one final anecdote for you, and that is when I give talks. I often been honored to give talks around the world, and people introduce me. They don't quite place Queen's College, so I get introduced as Queen's College, sometimes from Oxford, Cambridge, Queen's College University in Belfast, and I always, very politely thank them for their gracious introduction, and then I say, and the one correction I make is, I was educated at Queen's College of the City of New York, University of New York. Thank you, Queen's College. Thank you for all you did for me. And thank you for being, having me as part of your family and for honoring me today.
I am now pleased to welcome Danny Burstein, award-winning actor and singer, star of theater, film, and television, and of course, an alumnus of Queen's College, who is here to receive his honorary doctorate. Mr. Burstein, please come to the middle of the stage. Provost Betsy Hendry will read excerpts from the citation for Mr. Burstein. I invite you to consult the complete text, which is printed in your program.
Danny Burstein, Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa. You began acting in community theater and summer stock while attending the High School of the Performing Arts and started working professionally while still at Queen's College, where you earned your BA in drama in 1986 before completing an MFA in acting at the University of California, San Diego in 1990. You have performed in several Broadway productions such as The Seagull, The Drowsy Chaperone, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, South Pacific, Cabaret, and Fiddler on the Roof. Off-Broadway, you have appeared in numerous shows, often in nonprofit and experimental venues. You performed in Die Fledermaus at the Metropolitan Opera and have appeared on stages around the country, including the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Besides theater, you appear internationally in film and on television. You are in demand as a voice actor for video games and audiobooks and have an extensive discography of cast recordings from your theatrical work. The excellence of your work has been recognized repeatedly with industry awards. Critics celebrate your command of the stage. Over an illustrious career, you have won 2 Drama Desk Awards and 3 Outer Critics Circle Awards, as well as an Ernie Award and a Drama League Award. New Yorkers cheered when, with 7 Tony nominations to your name, you won the 2020 Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical, honoring your portrayal of Harold Zidler in Moulin Rouge, the musical, a performance the New York Times described as delivering a master class. You are a frequent guest lecturer at schools and universities in the Northeast Corridor, including Juilliard, Yale, NYU, and Queen's College. During the pandemic, you stayed in the city, unlike many others, and your struggles with COVID-19 were publicly chronicled as you experienced and emerged from hospitalization. You serve on the Artists Committee of the Kennedy Center Honors, have been a tireless voice for the importance of the arts to society and to individuals. Reflecting on why Broadway is needed after the long lockdown, you have said, theater isn't just a form of entertainment. At its best, it is a collective spiritual experience. It is church for the heart and mind. It is shul for the intellect, a mosque celebrating mankind. It reminds us how beautiful life can be and how fragile it is at well. It helps us form opinions and gain insight into the lives of our fellow humans. For your work meeting the highest standards of your education and craft, for the empathy and insight you bring to the human condition, and for your example as a citizen and teacher, today it is our great pleasure to welcome you and confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa.
Mr. Burstein is here today with his mother, Virginia, his brother, Matthew, also a graduate of Queen's College, his niece, Camilla, and his father, Harvey, who taught philosophy right here at Queen's College for 53 years, starting in 1967. Welcome back, Professor Burstein. by the authority vested in the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, by the State of New York, and by them entrusted to me, I hereby confer upon Danny Burstein the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, immunities, and honors pertaining thereto. And now I invite Mr. Burstein to deliver his commencement address.
Thank you. President Wu, fellow honorees, distinguished faculty and staff, fellow alumni, friends, family, and graduating class of 2022, I am unbelievably honored to be here with you today. This return to Queens College is a wonderful homecoming for me. As President Wu said, my father, Harvey Burstein, taught philosophy here for over 50 years and was twice given the Teacher of the Year award. My mother received her bachelor's in art from Queens College. My brother and one of my sons attended Queens College, and of course, I am a proud graduate of Queens College. I remember when I was 17, my dad saying to me, "You're going to Queens." And that was it. No talk of other colleges. We kept it in the family. Queens College was the best education I could have gotten, and it didn't put my parents into bankruptcy. Here at Queens, I majored in theater and dance. Well, not really dance, I mean, look at me, mostly theater. And I studied with the world-class faculty. Yay, dance, theater, yay. I hear you out there. And I studied with the world-class faculty in that department. One professor, Edward Greenberg, became my mentor. I loved Ed. He took me under his wing and helped to jumpstart my career, and I can tell you in all sincerity that I would not be standing here in front of you today if it weren't for him. He changed my life, as the great teachers do. I'm sure you all must have one or even several teachers here that did the same for you. Maybe one was my dad. My role here today is to impart some sort of wisdom that you can take with you, and I'll get to that. But first, let me give you some background on who I am first, because I'm sure you're wondering why the hell they ever let me in front of this microphone. I'm originally from the Bronx, I hesitate to say, ironically Shakespeare Avenue, but when my dad got a job teaching here at Queens College, I was 6 years old, we moved to Flushing, and my parents still live here. They still live in the home. They raised 3 boys. My parents were tough but kind, and they instilled strong moral values in the 3 of us, values that I carry to this day. When I was younger, I hated to read. My father gave me book after book, but I never enjoyed them. Reading felt like a chore. I thought there must be something wrong with me. Then he gave me a play, and the world of theater opened up to me. I understood the dialogue form. I loved how people could discuss things openly, say what they felt or not. It felt very much like real life, and I liked that. It was an escape for me as I read play after play. When I was 13, I auditioned for the High School of Performing Arts, which has since turned into the LaGuardia School. But when I attended, it was a small New York City public high school that was on West 46th in Manhattan. The year I auditioned, over 4,500 New York City school kids tried out. I was one of the 127 who made it in. At the age of 14, I already was on my path. I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. You realize it's not usually that easy, but that's the way it happened for me. 4 years later, I came to Queens, and after my 4 years here, I went to grad school in San Diego. After grad school, I got a job teaching theater here at Queens College. But my career got in the way of my teaching, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to teach, which I consider to be the noblest of professions, or do I want to act, which is my lifelong passion? I chose acting, and that's what I've been doing ever since, which leads me directly to my 10 basic rules of the road, and I pass them along to you. They're things I've learned along the way, usually the hard way, but they're ideals that I hold dear. Number 1, find your passion. Yeah, it's hard, but it's worth it. And you can always change, and you can even have many passions, but for God's sakes, do something that you love. There will be setbacks along the road to fulfilling your goals. Yes, you may have to take a job that doesn't fit into your plan to make ends meet, but hold fast to your dreams, whatever they are. I truly believe that everyone gets their shot. It's just a matter of whether you're ready for that shot when the opportunity presents itself. So be ready. 2, feed your passion. Keep studying and learning and growing. There's great truth in the old saying, the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. So keep learning, keep taking class, reading, growing, and maturing. Don't settle for the status quo. Be curious. Keep searching for more. The thing is, when you're curious, you're not just feeding your passion, you're expanding your mind and making yourself a better, more well-informed citizen of the world. 3, if you make a mistake, admit it. Apologize immediately and then move on. There's a reason pride is a vice. Let go of your ego and make things better as soon as possible. It saves so much time. 4, treat everyone the same, with kindness and respect. When you walk into a room, everyone in the room is your equal, no matter who they are, no matter what they look like, no matter what position they hold. When you do this, you leave yourself open to glorious possibilities. So much can be accomplished once you realize you're not a one-man band, but you're actually a part of a glorious symphony. 5, travel. There is a whole world out there that needs you to explore it. It's waiting for you. There are so many other cultures just waiting for you to immerse yourself in. See how other people live and think and feel about the issues of the world. And take pictures. You won't want to forget a thing. 6, it's okay to say, I don't know. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know the answers to every question. And by saying you don't know, you leave yourself open to learn. 7, surround yourself with art. Make time for art in your life. As the brilliant dramatist George Bernard Shaw said, without art, the crudeness of reality would make life unbearable. Art makes life worth living and gives life purpose. Find moments to feed your soul with art. Go to a play. Find out why people cry at the opera. Wander the rooms of a museum. Go to the ballet. Hear a symphony play. You'll walk out refreshed and lifted, and you'll see the world in a new way. And when you surround yourself with art, you'll also gravitate towards people who are smart and funny and talented, which is always fun. Come on. Which leads me to my next rule. 8, listen. This may be the most important item on my list. Don't be so quick to show everyone how ridiculously smart you think you are. Wait, listen, practice pragmatism, be patient, and then think before you speak. There's still so much to learn. Number 9, find a cause. Get involved in a charity. Help the disenfranchised. Speak out on issues you hold dear. Every time you take a stand for something that you believe in, it's a political act. Maybe get involved in politics. Maybe someone here will finally be able to get some sensible gun laws passed in this country. I hope that happens. As the great congressman and civil rights activist John Lewis said, never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Give back, pay it forward. When you do, you're helping to create a better society and a better world. I assure you, unselfishness comes back to you tenfold. Quoting Shaw again, he said, "I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can." Simply, when you give back, when you help others, you are truly alive. You are you at your best. And lastly, 10, practice kindness. 99.9% of the time, empathy is the best first reaction. When given a choice, make the loving choice. You can never go wrong when you do. One of my favorite quotes from the Dalai Lama is, "Our prime purpose in this life is to help others. And if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them." It's so sweet. Science even shows that when we're kind, it has a calming, healing effect on our bodies, and we actually live longer. So being kind to others is actually a selfish act, if you want to look at it that way. Now, I'm not going to lie. There will be rough times. Life absolutely sucks sometimes. My beautiful wife, Rebecca, passed away a year and a half ago at the age of 59. I was devastated, and I had to put my life back together. It hasn't been easy, but I can tell you the reason I was able to continue on was because I could hear her voice whispering in my ear, reminding me that our time here is short, but that a life well lived is one that lasts forever. And so I encourage you all to live forever. I encourage you to sail into your lives at full tilt. Live as much as possible. Care as much as possible. Love as much as possible. Tell the people in your lives how much you love them. Take full advantage of your time here. It is precious. You've worked so hard to get to this day. Your resilience in the face of such adversity is simply extraordinary. You've gotten through a pandemic and even worse, goddamn Zoom classes. And you've all been given this incredible opportunity now to do brilliant things. So take the world by storm and push it in a direction of kindness and decency. Break out from the constricting norms of the past and blaze new trails for a more open, ethnically diverse, inclusive, smarter, and more peaceful world. I wish you all nothing but health, happiness, and great success as you soar into the future. Congratulations, class of 2022. Thank you.
Many thanks to both Dr. Arturo Casadevall and now Dr. Danny Burstein for their addresses, their many contributions to society, and just honoring us with their presence back here at Queens College, their alma mater. We also welcome back alumni groups who are in the audience. They have come from all over this nation of ours, and we're so happy to have them here today. We will ask some of them to stand. First, the members of the class of 1972, if you would stand to be recognized. During their time here, the first Star Trek convention took place. The Watergate scandal took place. Pong, the first video game, was released, and The Godfather was the highest grossing film of the year when they graduated. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 1972. Next, I ask members of the class of 1962 to stand. They entered Queens College in 1958. That's when the first Walmart opened. Marvel's Spider-Man superhero made his first ever appearance in a comic book. The first Nike running shoe was created, and John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Queens College class of 1962. Now we'll ask members of the Queens College class of 1952 to stand. Elizabeth II became the Queen of England. The popular Mr. Potato Head toy was first sold in stores. The iconic musical Singing in the Rain premiered at Radio City Music Hall. Dr. Jonas Salk developed the polio vaccine. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the class of 1952. We also have representatives of the class of 1947 celebrating their 75th anniversary. Please stand, members of the class of 1947. That's when the first World Series was televised. Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color line. World War II peace treaties were signed, and Frank's Diary was published. The classic holiday film Miracle on 34th Street debuted and won Best Picture. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates from the class of 1947. Finally, we salute the Queens College class of 1942, celebrating their 80th anniversary since graduation. They entered 1 year after Queens College opened. That's when the Rose Bowl was played in Durham, North Carolina because of the war. The term the United Nations was first used to describe the Allied Pact. The draft age was lowered from 21 to 18, and the classic film Casablanca premiered. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Queens College class of 1942, thank you for being here. Now, I'm very happy to welcome a quartet of students from our famed Aaron Copland School of Music to sing an arrangement of Blue and Silver, an ode to the traditional colors of Queens College. Will the singers please stand?
Blue and silver proudly flying o'er the college we all love, sons and daughters pay their homage to our colors up above. Truest fame and brightest glory, thine will always be. Evermore we'll sing thy praises, Queens. Our hearts go out to thee.
Thank you so much for sharing your talented voices with us this morning. Thank you. Now, to give greetings on behalf of the 20,000 students of Queens College is the outgoing president of the Student Association, Zaire Khalut, who's also a graduate and the member of the class of 2022, one of three sisters, all of whom are graduates of the City University of New York. An immigrant to this nation, she'll be pursuing her master's in public health after she finishes here at Queens College. Please join me in welcoming two-time Student Association President Zaire Khalut.
Thank you for your kind words, President Wu. Good morning, graduates. Good morning, graduates. Are you all ready? There we go. Good morning, everyone. Students, President Wu, the President's Cabinet, honored guests, and good morning, graduates. Once again, congratulations. We made it. It is my greatest honor to speak to you all today. And to all of our mentors, our professors, and our adjuncts, thank you. And to Provost Hendry, thank you for your guidance. Congratulations. And to my family, thank you. Merci un peu. I hear the Haitians clapping. At Queens College, we are a proud cohort of first-generation students, as we've seen, international students, undocumented students, mothers, athletes, students with disabilities, Sikh students, Macaulay Honor students, and passionate waymakers. We make the way together. An extraordinary thing about Queens College students is, if you ever speak to us, it is clear we all obtained this degree for a reason more significant than ourselves. Some of us got it for our parents, others for representing our countries, and most of us to change the world. We aim to be the representation that the future needs in our fields. At QC, we have a history of change and of legacy. Andrew Goodman, Michael Schwerner, and James Chaney drove down to Mississippi and were killed for fighting for our civil rights. Lloyd Delaney led the fight for integration in creating our SEEK program to help low-income students of color receive an education. It's not just history, though. It's Yisrael, a current student, going to DC during elections to make sure it's heard. Our voices are heard. It is us standing together with each other during adversity. It is the group chat creators during the pandemic, making sure that everyone is up to speed on what's going on in our classes, sharing class notes, for no other reason than making sure that a fellow Queens College student is okay. During these past 2 years, we have been through a lot as a cohort. We lived through traumatic events, including a global pandemic, police violence, Asian hate crimes, and news of violence unleashed against children. We have suffered losses of jobs, losses of family members, and had to reroute life trajectories. Still, our unconventional college experience speaks to our unyielding strength as a cohort and as graduates. You're all the future leaders of our society. We are all the future leaders of our society, bound to make the changes we want to see, to combat the institutional changes we want to see, to combat both the covert and the overt systematic inequalities. So today, we are future educators. I know my teachers are in the crowd. There we go. Policymakers, my politicians, accountants, doctors, lawyers, scientists, dancers, graphic designers, media studies, all designed and all positioned to make an impact. And though that seems to be a lot of pressure on our shoulders, we've made it through the College of Overachievers, the College of Double Majors and many minors, and we have succeeded. We have explored all that the college has to offer through our curricula of electives and looked imposter syndrome in the eyes in our large lecture halls and conquered it. And we have faced failures and overcome them. It is now time for us to remember these teachings and to do what we love. And we cherish the memories of staying in the library for 24 hours and our Shah's Halal overconsumption. Shout out to Shah's. Or running to class after the carnival to make a 140 class. And most of all, learning about the people around us. When we leave here, we leave with a force of 18,000 Queens College students. We leave with an alumni network that cares for our success. The class of 2022 is here for you. We leave holding kindness very dear to us. I always say we have the kindest and most patient student body. So let's hold dear to that kindness and keep looking at adversity in the eyes, and as we keep learning so that we may serve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Khalut. Now it is time for the presidential charge and the conferral of degrees. Betsy Hendry, as our provost and senior vice president, will join me in this part of the ceremony. We have a representative for each of the different degree categories who will come up and stand on behalf of all of the graduates in that category. I turn it over now to our provost and senior vice president.
We shall now proceed with the conferring of master's degrees. The program lists the candidates for the various degrees and certificates. The students being hooded were chosen from among our top students in each degree category. These representatives will be hooded by Alicia Alvaro, Associate Provost for Academic and Faculty Affairs. Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts, Master of Liberal Arts, and Master of Arts in Teaching please rise? Hina Khan is representing these candidates. Oh. Please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts please rise? Rebecca Lopato is representing these candidates. Please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Library Science please rise? Mei Chong is representing these candidates. Please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Science please rise? Nicole Haralal is representing these candidates.
Hold on, we're experiencing technical difficulties. We'll have it sorted out in just a moment.
With the candidates for Master of Library Science, please rise if you're not already. Mei Chung is representing these candidates. All right, will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Library Science and Master of Arts please rise? John Bendall is representing these candidates.
Don't worry, everyone will get their degrees.
Now, will the candidates for Master of Library Science and Master of Arts please rise? John Bendall is representing these candidates. Please be seated. will the candidates for the degree of Master of Music please rise? Kemal Aksal is representing these candidates. So, all right. Here's the part where we make sure everybody gets their degree. Will all the candidates for master's degrees, for all professional and advanced certificates and specialist diplomas, please stand. President Wu, I present to you these candidates and respectfully request that you confer upon them the master's degrees, professional advanced certificates, and specialist diplomas for which they are qualified.
By the authority vested in the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, by the State of New York, and by them entrusted to me, I hereby confer upon you the master's degrees, professional advanced certificates, and specialist diplomas for which you have qualified with all the rights, privileges, immunities, and honors pertaining thereto. To whom much is given, much is expected. I charge you to generously and wisely use the knowledge and skills you have gained during your graduate studies. There are many challenges in the world, and I know that your talents and efforts, collective and individual, will make a positive difference for humanity. Please be seated. I salute you by tipping my hat.
I will now present the candidates for bachelor's degrees. Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Business Administration please rise? Rebecca Yaminian is representing these candidates. Please be seated. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Fine Arts degree please rise? Representing these candidates, Dana Komsky will be hooded. Please be seated. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Music degree please rise? Representing these candidates, Ganling Chu will be hooded. Please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science please rise? Representing these candidates, Ayal Dalal will be hooded. Please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts please rise? Ariana Alvaro is representing these candidates.
Ariana was hooded by her mother.
Please be seated. And now will all bachelor's candidates please rise? President Wu, I present to you these candidates and respectfully request that you confer upon them the bachelor's degrees for which they are qualified.
By the authority vested in the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York, by the State of New York, and by them entrusted to me, I hereby confer upon you the bachelor's degrees for which you have qualified, with all the rights, privileges, immunities, and honors pertaining thereto. I charge you to use the same discipline and character that allowed you to complete your degrees here at Queens College to achieve your future goals and aspirations. You are capable of great things, and we expect nothing less than the best from each and every one of you. I tip my hat to all of the bachelor's degree graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now switch your tassels from the left to the right. I ask all of the bachelor's degree recipients and the master's degree students, please rise, turn, and show your appreciation to the audience, to all the people you have brought, your family, your parents, significant others, faculty, staff, who made this moment possible. This has been a wonderful commencement. Again, I thank all who have participated and made it possible for us to come back in person. I wish you the best as you begin life after Queens College. Please remember that you will always be with us as we are with you. While you are no longer a Queens College student, you have now joined the distinguished ranks of Queens College alumni. Congratulations. I believe the band is ready to play. To officially close the commencement ceremony, I invite Chief Marshal Smith back to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and clear the center aisle until the recession for the platform party and the faculty is complete. Additional ceremonies for various academic departments and schools will begin in about 30 minutes. Their locations are in your programs on page 50 to 51. The 98th commencement exercises of Queens College of the City University of New York are now officially concluded.